Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Not really sure what time of day it is right now when you're watching this, but it's night here at my grandparents' house. It's great. Okay, so I don't have a bottle of Head & Shoulders with me, so I'm really sorry, but let's make this video so I can get a great grade and you can get on to doing whatever you do in your life. Okay, so talking about the Laramie Project, I think that it was a very inspirational play. And just reading it, I got a sense of what the town was going through and how much expectation came from that town and how people judged it before even knowing the real people who got there. And I felt like I was there living it with them because of the interviews and how personal they were. I think Kaufman did a great job in conveying his message that not only Matthew was harmed, but the entire town was affected. By getting these interviews, I think Kaufman made an amazing argument because each statement was actually from a town member and it was very personal, very deep, and very truthful. You got all these people's input, which was great because it makes you see how they feel and their reactions towards the whole Matthew Shepard murder. So I think that Kaufman had a creative way in portraying his message that the town was very much affected by Matthew. And I think that the way he did it with interviews is a lot different from writing, which, in a good way, obviously, a positive way. Because if you're just writing, you're not getting the true, inspirational effect. You're not getting the truthful storytellings of the people of the town. And when he took these interviews, you actually could feel these people talking and feel what they felt and how affected they were. One of my favorite interviews was in the moment Allison and Marge on page 15, where Marge Murray said, "Well, yeah, honey, why wear clothes?" I think this interview was great because it not even showed just the reaction people had, but also their personalities and how open they were and things like that. And how each person, because their personality, has a different interview. And I think that the placement was good in what he did with his interviews. He put the strong interviews in the beginning, opening statements about Matthew, how people felt, which are usually good things. And then he, interviewed many gay and lesbian couples. Not couples, but just people, like Jonas Slonaker and Catherine Connolly. And this was good because you got this perspective of the gay community in Laramie, which obviously was not happy about this hate crime murder. And then he refuted this entire argument with negative statements, with the Baptist minister, on page 69, when he said, before Matthew slipped into a coma, I hope he had a chance to reflect on his lifestyle. And at first, I wondered why Kaufman put this in, because it didn't make sense with his argument. I know his argument was really just to get the input of the town, see how they were affected, but I feel like it was portraying a good message of why hate crime should not exist as well. So I was kind of confused on this, but then I realized that this was really his counter-argument, and then he rebutted it with a lot of good positive statements after that. Okay, a certain person I would want to talk about is Jediah Schultz, because I think that his interviews were probably the best and more effective, and personally I like them. He started out with him being in a play going against his parents, which obviously you would think would be being pro-gay, and that he's tolerant, at least tolerant, maybe even accepting. And then he went off to say that he didn't really know what he believed in, and that his parents didn't believe it, and he might not even believe that gays should be allowed to exist, which was kind of a shocking moment. I didn't expect him to say that at all. I had to change where he was on the chart that we had. I put him to more intolerant now. And then at the end, on page 98, he said, how did I even let that stuff make me think that you, as in other gays and lesbians, were different from me? And I think this shows how Jediah was affected from being good. Well, not really good, but from his old point of view to his new point of view. This whole thing happened because of the Matthew Shepard murder. So it displays of how a person's... Hi, Grandpa. You want to be in it? You can say hello.
Oh.
I have to do it for my English teacher. Say hi.
Hi. Hi.
My Grandpa. Obviously the white side.
Who am I talking to?
You're not talking to anyone yet. I have to send this in as a project.
Oh, okay.
Okay. See you later. Okay. And I think that by showing his change in perspective, that Kaufman got a great argument of how, well, like, portraying gays in a good, positive way. Additionally, I think that he kept the readers interested by not only talking about the Matthew Shepard project and that whole thing, but also put some other drama in it. Like, I wanted to know whether Reggie Ferde had HIV, and if she got it eventually, and they told us at the end, so I thought that was, like, a real, like, page turner. And I also want to know what Russell Henderson, Aaron McKinney got for doing those terrible crimes to Matthew Shepard. So those really kept me into the book, and I'm sure it kept other people into the book as well. So, so that's another thing that additionally made his argument even stronger. One of the things I thought the movie did better than the book was portray, like, the scenes during the trial. I think the angel scene did not make that much sense in the book, but in the movie it made a ton of sense. And, like, it was very inspirational seeing them cry and seeing them cover so much hate crime with just wings. It was great. I also got to see how Aaron McKinney really, if he had remorse or not, which in the movie he didn't. But I couldn't tell in the books. I didn't know if he was crying when he was saying things or just with a straight face. So seeing him be so cold-hearted, I realized that he really did deserve a terrible sentence. And additionally, I think that the speech by Matthew's father was very intense and very effective. In the book, it's hard to get that emotion out of it. But when you see him actually reading it, well, obviously it's not him, but a character. When you see the character actually reading it, it really makes you think about a lot of things and how, like, family is so affected by a murder. So I think that that part of the play was better portrayed in the movie rather than in the book because of the emotional impact it had with it. So there's my Laramie Project reaction, and I hope you have a great night, Miss Nelson, and I really think an A+ would be fantastic.